Hey everybody, welcome back to the series. I'm still getting over this cold that I had here, so just bear with me until my voice improves, but let's go ahead and continue. Today I want to talk about concat versus concatenate, and I even get, confused from time to time when it comes to trying to remember which one does which. So the best way to figure this out is concat is used to convert a table into a string, whereas concatenate just simply concatenates or makes strings come together. Let's see how this looks. So let's start off with looking at a table that we're going to go ahead and create. And so one of the things to do here is I'm creating an empty table. Now this is important because I see a lot of you guys do this, and I did this explicitly. I could have just done this literally in one clear collect statement. I've done it before in other examples. Wanted to call this one out because I see this happen all the time. If you need to create an empty collection, please go ahead and save yourself some aggravation and do blank. I see a lot of people do this trick right here. And when you do this trick, it winds up kind of screwing you over a little bit later or coming back to bite you, because it creates an empty row in the table. Now the table's no longer empty. You have a blank row. You know what? I'm going to leave this like this. I'll go back and change it to blank. I want to literally show you how this can come back and bite you. All right, so now I'm collecting in 3 separate passes. And I'm just trying to emulate, I don't know, maybe somewhere in your app you might be doing a collect here, a collect there. It's all over the app, right, where you're collecting, so maybe this might be a good use case of it. Again, I've done other use cases where we just did it in one fell swoop. So now we've got this make table. I'm going to go ahead and create make table. Now I want to go ahead and come over here to this little X for the variables. Let's look at the collection. And here we got my collection, because that's what I'm creating over here, right? I'm doing my collection. And if we look at the table, lo and behold, Shazam. Blank row, just like I told you. Then we've got the 3 collects. So my table count is 4, but I was expecting 3. That's because you didn't use blank. But let's further continue how this comes back to bite you in the tail, especially with this function. Okay, let's do some concat. Let's look at the button here. So what I'm doing is, and by the way, guys, when you do manipulations of things, or you use functions that do manipulations of things, if you need to set them at some point in the future, not just set them, but use them, I guess is what I meant to say. If you go to use them at some point later, you need to store it somewhere for later use. So I'm setting another variable called, and this is a global variable. In this case, it could be context variable. So for those of you that know both, you could use either one, and there's definitely preferences for one over the other. But anyway, I went off on a tangent on the update context, local variable versus the global variable of set. In any event, I'm using global here. And the point here is this concat function, this is going to take a table. So that's your first clue, right? If you're trying to concatenate, strings together and it expects a table, that's your first sign that you've used the wrong concat versus concatenate function. So if it's looking for a table and you're trying to do strings, wrong one, use the other one. Okay, and IntelliSense will help you through this too, right? So you do the concat, and now you're saying, what's going on? Oh, wait, it wants a table. Yep, no, got the wrong one. So just make sure you look at your IntelliSense to help you kind of figure out what you're doing right or wrong. Anyway, so if your intention is to use this, then let me explain what we're going to do here. So first you pass it a table. And now what you need to do is essentially say, give me an expression. So what do you do in the expression? Well, you build what you want to happen as this concat function iterates over everything in your table. And so in this example, I'm using operators to do inline concatenation. Remember when we talked about operators and a very extensive breakout. I told you could use the concatenate function, or you can use this operator. And I'm using this inline version of the operator concatenation to concatenate in this expression. And what I'm saying is I want a single quote plus the column that's in my table. So if we go back to here in view table, I have age, city, ID, and name, right? So I'm just taking the name column. And I want a single quote, I want the name column, and then I want to end it with another single quote. And then what we provide here at the very last part, so there's 3 parameters, right? You got to give it a table name, some expression in the middle, and then the third and final is what do you want to use as a separator? Because again, this converts a table to a string. And you might be thinking, well, why do I even want to do that? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever integrate Power Apps, Power Automate with your expression or with your app, you're going to want to, at some point, convert a table of data into a string so that you can pass it from, one app to the other. That was a hack that used to happen. I used to do that. A lot of times you can convert tables into JSON and then pass the JSON through and back and forth. Anyway, the point is there's multiple use cases to where you would want to convert a table into a string. I use it specifically for packaging stuff up. But you can use it for whatever use case that comes across to where it might work for you. In any event, I'm choosing the pipe separator for this. Now let's just see what this looks like, right? So down here on this purple row, I'm going to put the output of this concat function. So keep your eye on here as I hold my Alt key down and press this concat button. You see I've got John, Jane, and Mike. And some weird things are going on. I've got this weird leading pipe, right? I don't really want that. And the reason that looks wonky and the reason it looks the way that it is because of that stupid blank column. So let's go ahead and fix this. I've gone off on a tangent long enough on this. So again, don't use these like this. Put a blank. That's what the blank function's for. It's a null value. Okay, so now I can create a table, but I don't create a row along with the table. So let me go ahead and press the Alt key and make the table again, and then press the Alt key and then click the concat button again. Here, let's try this again. Click, click. Okay, see how that fixed that? And also if we look back to the table, magically that nasty little extra row is gone away. So that's exactly why you don't want to do that blank. So now with that thing not biting you, you now have a way of taking a table and converting it over. And the other reason I use the pipe symbol a lot, now you don't have to do it this way, but I just like to use pipe symbols because they seem to be somewhat unique into text strings. And so, one of the things I might want to do here is do something like this. And now maybe I just want to have age, because that was another column. And at that point, we'll do and. I think that should be good. All right, let's build this again. Boop. Okay, so now I have John, 25, and then a pipe. I have Jane, and so the single quote, I'm trying to denote maybe this is a string. And I don't have any quotes around the age because it's an integer, a number. And so now I have a way of not only having multiple columns separated by a comma, but I also have a record or row delimiter so that I know that John 25 pipe, oh, okay, that's the end of that record. Now the next row is going to be Jane 30. Oh, here's another pipe. New row, Mike 35. So you see why I like to use pipe. And so if you look at the documentation and a lot of examples, it always has you using commas. And so you don't have to use pipe. You can use anything that you want. I think some people even do I don't know, what's another popular one that I've seen folks do? Like maybe a tilde or something like that. Anyway, the point is just try to find something unique that works for you, for your use case, that's common, not maybe as common. And a lot of it comes down to looking at your data. All right, so we've eaten this concat function hopefully to death and given you some great pointers along the way. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to play this. I'm going to do 1, we'll do 2, 3, and I'll hit concatenate. And we have 1, 2, and 3. So this works as expected. Let's go ahead and look at this. Now these get really gnarly because we're using the set variable to do the concatenation. And I'm sorry, we're doing the set variable to capture off the operator-based concatenation, okay? So I wanted to show you the operator version of this, okay? So this is one variation. Now I want to do this live for you. So I'm going to do this off like this. And let's do this to comment this out. And let's do, now let's just build it straight up. Set my concat string, and now we want to do concatenate, and now let's add txt1.text, and we're going to do this, comma this, comma this, close it up, and let me look at one more. Yep, okay, change this to 2. Change this to 3. All right. Now, the output is the same. Notice that? And we've got 1, we got 2, we got 3, but it's all jammed up together. So the question is, what can we do to introduce that extra quote? Well, it's really simple. You can simply just put in another comma, quote, quote, space, and then come over here, quote, quote, space, comma. And that should introduce or reintroduce the space for us. So the same concatenation outcome using operator versus the concatenate function. Okay, so hopefully that gives you 2 different ways of thinking through the concatenation. So one is a function and one is the operator-based variation of it. Okay, that's it for this video. We'll hope to see you in the next one. Thanks a lot and have a great day.